from Southern Maryland's weather leader. This is a JB Weather Alert.
Hello and good evening, everyone. I am Forecaster John Bordash with you to give you right around an 8:45 update on what it is we're looking at. I've gotten plenty of questions on what should we expect across Southern Maryland through the evening. And even though we've had plenty of forecast updates throughout the day that you are more than welcome to access, what I did want to do is give an overview of what it is we are looking at and talk in a little bit more of a real-time setting to give you this update. So if you can hear me fine, let me know. And actually, my sister says that she can hear me fine right now, which is awesome. So we do still maintain the severe thunderstorm watch in effect for everyone shaded in yellow. That is all of Southern Maryland until 10 o'clock. That has not changed. What we have been watching all day, and especially over the last few hours, is this line of storms that is now draped from right around Lancaster, Pennsylvania, down just to the west of Baltimore, down through the DC metro area, and then just to the north of Charlottesville. This broken line of thunderstorms is what's moving to the east along with our cold front, and this is what's going to try to give us severe weather as we head through the evening. We've pushed the timing back a little bit, but anywhere between about 9 o'clock this evening through about 2 o'clock in the morning, I think it's going to be the time, if we see severe weather from this line, when that would move through. We do currently have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for the Washington, D.C. metro area. There is a tornado warning that was in effect that the system hasn't totally caught up with for that pink polygon. That's northwest of D.C. That's been allowed to expire, but that's what that pink polygon is. But northern parts of PG County, southern parts of Montgomery County, parts of D.C. under the severe thunderstorm warning until 9 o'clock. So this is from about Coral Hills, Mitchellville, points north and west there. This doesn't include Laurel, doesn't include Bowie, but does include New Carrollton and Greenbelt, as well as Kensington, Maryland, and then the northern half of the DC Beltway. For this storm here, which has actually had a decent history of some rotation, some gusty winds, and you can see over the last hour and a half, you can track it here with how it's come from just north of Culpeper right into the DC area. And what I want to do, I want to make sure that this is all up to date. So we're going to switch gears quickly so I can let this program reboot. It's gotten quite the workout today, but we'll come to a program that is very similar while I do that and multitask. But you can still see all of those areas there shaded in yellow. Those are our areas under that severe thunderstorm watch. Again, that includes our entire region. And we do indeed have a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings represented by those orange boxes. And that, again, does include the DC metro area right in there. I'm sure if you're watching TV this evening, you got that programming interrupted by a tornado warning alert, because that system did have a tornado warning with it at one point. I want to come back over here now that we've given this bad boy a chance to reboot a little bit. What we will be watching, what I'm watching closely, are going to be these storms down here near Culpeper, near Charlottesville. Some additional development on the southern side of this, some additional development back to the west of I-95, or I-81 rather. As these storms continue to push eastward, these might be the ones that try to sneak into our region. And what I do want to do is give you a look at what our Chesapeake Bounty Futurecast is showing for this line as it continues to move to the east. So let me go ahead, let me get Futurecast loaded up here for you. This is the latest run that just came in. I wanted to wait for it to render before we went live here. That's what I was waiting on. Let me get that together. I want to make sure my, I need to start here, and then let me come here. I want to make sure that I have my loop loaded. And this is all the fun of me doing this in real time. Let's come back into the default view. So starting at around 9 o'clock, you can see we just noted we have storms to the west of I-95, storms down toward Charlottesville, storms to the north. Futurecast rendered pretty good to start off with. And what we can see, let's push this forward towards 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. It looks like they die out a little bit, but you see this additional development down here. So do not let your guard down. Do not be shocked if you wake up at midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, to hear some thunder, to have those gusty winds continuing as the southern end of this line, it's going to have to move through at some point. The question is, will there be storms associated with it? Futurecast says there will be. Futurecast suggests that we could be looking at some thunderstorms rolling through between 12, 1, 2 o'clock, maybe a little bit later than we expected, but this is going to need to be watched. The one thing that works in our favor, if this does indeed move through later than we expect, is that the storm energy in the atmosphere will not be anywhere near as great as it is during peak heating, middle of the day, 3, 4 o'clock. However, we will have an extreme amount of wind energy well above our heads that these storms are going to be able to tap into. Even though we don't have a lot of wind energy, which means we're not going to be talking about crazy robust thunderstorms, what that will mean is that any rain areas, any storms that are able to get going are going to be able to. Actually, it looks like we just got a new tornado warning in for some parts of Maryland. It looks like they're continuing that for DC and actually parts of PG County. So I'm happy we're live here because this is technically part of the JB weather viewing area, if you will. So I need to get this warning because I think it already auto-posted. We're going to stay here live. We're going to continue to track this. We'll come back to Futurecast here in a second. You got the main idea of what I was saying. Let me get all of my layers loaded back on here. And again, this is a brand new severe thunderstorm warning now. This is in effect for the northern half of the DC metro area, parts of PG County here. This goes until 9:15. Let me get a storm track loaded up on this bad boy. Let me get that together. We're tracking this at about 29 miles per hour at about 77 degrees. So we'll just say that's good. Let's bring this over here. And this is where the screen gets a little bit cluttered here because there's so much going on, which I'm not the biggest fan of. Let me see if I can zoom on out just a little bit. There we go. That's a little bit better. Let me go ahead. Let me get that together. And let me get this posted up. You all know my ability to multitask is not the best. So give me just 1 second and we'll get this together, right? We got this. And go ahead and feel free to share the live stream. We'll be here. I'm tracking this. And I know this isn't for the core part of our viewing area. I know a lot of you are down in Calvert, St. Mary's County. However, I'm sure if this was you all, you would want to know. Let's see. For the DC metro area, including Prince George's and Montgomery counties in Maryland until 9:15. Let's see, severe thunderstorm was like save, and let me go over to Twitter, make sure that I have that tweet updated. Quote tweet that. All right, so now that that is all updated, hello, welcome if you're just now tuning in. I'm Forecaster John Bordash, continuing to track this broken line of thunderstorms that's continuing to produce severe weather. We do have now a tornado warning in effect for parts of PG County. It's barely parts of PG County. I want to get some of these layers off. There's too much going on here. So this is going to be just to the west of College Park, Adelphi, down towards Hydesville, Chilham, Silver Spring, just south of Bethesda. We're talking northwest and northeast parts of DC. This is a tornado warning, that pink polygon, until 9:15. At 8:46, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located over McLean, Virginia, moving east at 30 miles per hour. This is radar indicated rotation. For those in the direct path of this storm, a tornado touchdown is possible. Flying debris will become dangerous to those caught without shelter. Damage to roofs, siding, and other windows may occur. Mobile homes may be damaged or destroyed in a situation like this. Tree damage is likely. This thunderstorm will be near Arlington at 8:55, Bethesda, Martin's Additions, American University, Friendship Village, and Georgetown around 9 o'clock, Fort Totten and Chevy Chase around 9:05, Langley Park, Tacoma Park, and Hilldale at 9:10, and Hyattsville and Adelphi at 9:15. Other locations impacted by this tornadic thunderstorm include River Crest, Little Falls, Brentwood, West McLean, Chevy Chase Village, Catholic University, Langley, North Brentwood, Chilham, and the National Zoo. So again, this pink polygon is that tornado warning. We have a bigger severe thunderstorm warning with the orange shading in effect there for you for parts of PG, Montgomery counties, as well as DC and Fairfax counties. And as I was mentioning, right before that came in, we have this additional severe thunderstorm warning in effect down towards the Culpeper area, down towards, I believe that is Madison County. This is a storm that is racing to the north and east as well, has indicated some signs of rotation through different levels of the atmosphere. We're going to watch that as well as this additional development going on here down to the south. So very active scene this afternoon and evening. We've been talking about this for a couple of days now throughout the day, this potential. And like we were just saying, if we're going to see severe weather here in the heart of southern Maryland, we're talking south of Route 50, Calvert, Charles, PG, Anne Arundel, and Calvert counties. I think we're going to be talking about that probably after about 10 or 11 o'clock. Futurecasts suggest we could have some storms try to roll on through as we head towards about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. We'll see if that actually happens. But that's what we're going to be watching as these storms continue to track to the north and east. This entire line here is going to be producing, this entire line is associated with our cold front. It's going to be moving to the east regardless of if it has storms or not. The question is, will we be able to see storms really develop along that? And so far, we've been able to see that this line is able to keep its act together and hold together. So we'll watch all of this as we take a bigger view out. What you can see is behind this, we don't have much going on back in parts of Pennsylvania, West Virginia. We do have some showers back to the Midwest that we'll try to work on through tomorrow, but that will be tomorrow's issue. Severe weather will not be an issue tomorrow. We will be keeping these gusty winds around through the afternoon and eve, or throughout tonight going into the day tomorrow with those hit and miss showers. We talked about that earlier today. Now, I do want to come back in here again. Tornado warning in effect remains in effect for parts of DC, southern parts of Montgomery County, and parts of PG County. Again, that is in effect still until 9 o'clock. It's that pink polygon. So any interest in this region need to be taking aware or be aware of this. I want to take us into our storm tracking mode. So I want to get an updated storm track here. Let's take this at about 30 miles an hour at about 77 degrees. That would take us a little bit more like this, but I'm not seeing that kind of motion with this storm. So we'll compromise and call it right about there. So this is going to be tracking on over towards the Hyattsville area here in less than 10 minutes. College Park at about 9:05. Not in that tornado warning technically, but we will be seeing this storm eventually move through at some point. Crofton at 9:30, and then on over towards Arnold in the Annapolis area by about 10 o'clock. So if you're in this tornado warning polygon, this is what you need to be doing. That is tomorrow's forecast I was working on. We want to get those tornado safety precautions loaded up. And this is what we're going to be talking about. Move indoors to a substantial shelter that has a foundation. That's the key thing here. So if we're looking at a mobile home, that's not going to be suffice for this type of a situation. You need a foundation or building that has a foundation. You need to get to the lowest level of your home or wherever it is you are. Either a basement or a first floor works. You want to be as low to the ground as possible, and you want to make sure you're in an interior room. You want as many walls between you and the outside as possible as these storms work on through. I do want to take you back over here to live William Richmond Inc. radar, continuing to track this. I'm going to zoom out to get these roads away. And what I do want to do is take a look at base velocity, see where we're looking at a little bit of rotation. And we can see that here just south of Silver Spring. So let me, where we have these bright red colors, that would be wind coming away from the radar. And where we get these little bit of green colors, that would be wind going towards the radar. So we have some loose rotation here, moving through northwestern parts of DC, northeast DC, about to move through Chilham, about to move through College Park, Greenbelt. So any interest, University of Maryland, on over towards Greenbelt, Glendale, Bowie eventually in about 20-25 minutes. Do stay aware of this storm. It has a long history of having rotation with it. It's possessed some sort of rotation for about the last hour or so that at least I've been tracking it. It's not the best looking storm on radar. But you can see where you get that little bit of a curlicue in there. And then again, we have these storms down here, Madison, Culpeper. We're going to watch these. It's kind of, as everything tracks to the north and east, the further south you get, the higher chance these storms are then going to impact the core part of our coverage zone. So this storm over towards Culpeper, probably if it were to hold together, would impact areas like Waldorf and Clinton, and on over towards Annapolis, probably over the next 1 or 2 hours. These additional storms that are developing down here near Waynesboro would be ones that we'd be watching for maybe areas like La Plata, Prince Frederick, Mechanicsville in about 1 or 2 hours. And just by and large, if we can put on the national radar mosaic, you can see we have additional storms trying to fire as everything tracks here to the north and east. And we'll watch. That severe thunderstorm watch remains in effect through 10 o'clock, so for about the next hour. They may decide to drop it at 10 o'clock, but I think our severe weather threat really does continue until about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. The severe weather threat isn't exactly huge. It isn't exactly, the biggest threat we've ever faced. I think that we've had far scarier conditions than this. But what this does tell me is that we have a non-zero severe weather threat, a non-zero tornado threat. I do think the biggest story with any storms that do move through overnight will be the enhanced gusty winds. So we have some strong winds out there right now that have been blowing off and on. These thunderstorms will enhance that. Rotation will be something we're watching, but lightning will also be something at play. We can see that with all of these storms that have fired today, all of them have possessed at some point in time a decent amount of lightning. The storm that's moving through DC right now has, I want to make sure that we have, the storm that is coming into DC, if we track this back at about an hour ago, as it was coming here through parts of Fauquier County and Prince William, we can see where it got that little bit of a hook, a decent amount of lightning with it, and that's only continued as this storm has pushed here to the east. And we're going to watch that with this storm that's north of Charlottesville. You can see how that kind of evolved here over the last little bit. Pushed into Madison County, pushed in now and getting into Culpeper County. And it does indeed look like that tornado warning has been allowed to expire for the DC metro area. I do want to see if we have an update with our velocity scan. See what it is we're looking at here. Yeah, that rotation definitely seems very broad at this point now. Let me come back in here. I want to make sure I'm looking at base velocity. Yeah, we still have some evidence of some weak, broad rotation where you see that little bit of green matching up with that red south of Silver Spring, but it's not a tight couplet at all. So we're going to watch all of this. We'll see how all of it kind of plays out as everything pushes here to the east. Don't get your hopes up, and I get my hopes up for storms, but I also like the weather. Don't get your hopes up for everyone getting a storm overnight, but if I take you back to Futurecast, now that that warning has expired, I can show you that, and I'll make sure I post this too for those that ask, because we could get lots of messages on. It's like the one post I'll have that doesn't have a link to the forecast on the website is the post that gets all the questions. What's going on? Where's gonna just gotta go to the website sometimes. I'm getting off on a tirade now. So this is Futurecast showing, by about midnight or so. That's when we might start to see these storms push on through midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and we'll see. Futurecast thinks that we could see some locally heavy rain with these, and Futurecast thinks that there could be a little bit of rotation with these as they push through. So we'll watch. Nothing super ominous or nothing super scary, but we'll watch how everything pushes through. So we will continue to monitor this. One last look at radar, and just because I don't want to get that back together, I'll just switch us on over here. So I do see a quick question about College Park. So this is about to move here in College Park, actually. You can see the heavy rain moving over Tacoma Park, Chevy Chase, parts of northeast DC. This will move right over College Park here in about 5 or 10 minutes. And it looks like they've also allowed that severe thunderstorm warning to expire. So we have no active warnings at all right now. But that severe thunderstorm watch does remain in effect till 10. So stay tuned. I'll continue to keep you updated on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, the website. Get all your bases covered as we continue to track all of this as this cold front continues to track eastward. Make sure you stay with me here at JB Weather for the latest information.
Check the forecast anytime online at jbweather.net.